Wow, 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 what a race it was last night. And for me, it was the best race of the season. But obviously for the stewards, it wasn't the best race of the season. And of course, there'll be some action since we'll be going against some of the anarchy from last night. Then, and we'll keep you up to date about how that progresses. Tonight there was another track vote then, and it is the same track options as it was last night as well. Then, so good evening all to Riley. Let go gold says Silver. That says Nosy. And we've also got Goku as well saying let go Nosy. So I hope it's Australia. Good evening to you, Tori, as well. Anyway, let's get on with the poll, shall we? As the poll is about to begin now. Which track would you like to see a race at tonight? Get your votes in the comment section right now, whilst I have a quick look to see what's going on in the drivers and the constructors stand-ins for silver. And like I said last night, it is so close in silver at the moment. It's absolutely ridiculous. Goodness gracious me. The gap is, whoops, I'm in bronze at the moment. It is Pot Stuff Elite Championship by 3 points from KD in second position. Tori is only 5 points away. The top three, like they was last week, are running away in the World Championship. It's pretty phenomenal stuff indeed. Then we've got Reflections in fourth position. Remember that Reflections is the world champion from bronze last season. That's an incredible start to the season for Reflections. And Vestia, also a strong season as well in fifth position on 39. 37 for Jinna, then hit and miss so far for Jinna. Of course, he won in the opening race then, and he's been either there or thereabouts in sixth position. Nope, seventh position is Riley, and same with Riley and Jinna, basically. They're having the same story this season. Hit or miss. Camera Racer on 35, 34 for Nosy, and 20 points for Kiki. And then Smithy on 18. Great result last time out for Smithy. Or was it the CL race before? And then we got Dynamo down there getting a point and keeping up with his point scoring streak. Fantastic 70. Debo Croc on 14. 10 points for Styles. Mumford on 5. End it. Mumford on 5. Mumford on 5. I've lost my train of thought now. We're far from one, the real thing on one. Nigel, Sloth, and Chlorine Pilot have not scored just yet. Then, of course, keep your votes coming in, ladies and gents. And what's the votes going on at the moment? Hang on, let me have a gander. Spain on 52%, 29% for Canada. No, 29% for Monaco and 19% for Canada. Constructors Championship looks like this. Haas leads the way, 24 points in from the Alpine in second position. Have I swapped the constructors over? Yes, I have. Fantastic. Third position is McLaren Mercedes on 68 points there. Then we have got Aston Martin on 54, 40 points for the Racing Bull. Ferrari on 39, 37 for Mercedes, 35 for Williams. Deep breath. 17 points for Red Bull and 11 points for the Kick Sauber team as well. Then, of course, so great stuff indeed. We've also got Come on Monaco, says Styles, said the real thing. Monaco getting votes is giving me heart palpitations. And Spain says 5. Hey, I should be on 2, it says 5. What? Really? No, I don't believe that for a second. Better than Canada. It's better than Canada as well. So I think I'm gonna end the vote there because I've done all me Jiffy and stuff, Ed, which is fantastic. So if you've not voted, then I gotta say hard luck. I love being in power. It's fantastic. 26% for the Monaco and Canadian Grand Prix, but it's Spain with 48%. So there it is. Good stuff indeed. Evening to you, pot stuff. Tori's not happy with Spain, and KD is saying it's better than Canada. España, fantastic indeed. Then, great stuff, Ben. Should you be on 2 points? I'm absolutely no. I don't believe you. I reckon you're pulling me plonker there. Who's got a milestone tonight? I'm sure someone had a milestone tonight. Sloth has a 20 as his 20th Grand Prix start, which is still cool stuff indeed. That Reflection takes us 130th Grand Prix start in silver. That's incredible. That doesn't count bronze. The event league. That's an incredible amount of starts there for reflection. Good stuff indeed then. Farf was on 160 last week, so he's on 161 tonight, and we've got a full grid, which makes me very happy indeed, because that means I don't have to use my brain when I'm doing this stuff on Friday, which is all fantastic indeed then. And of course, using my brain is never a good thing, is it? We've also got a driver transfer to update you on. Of course, and also go for it in a bit more details tomorrow night. But Ruthless Venom is now in the Aston Martin team now, and of course, replacing Jake the Slayer, who's had to step back. And Ruthless Venom is straight into the top 10 on 42 points. Impressive stuff indeed. That I don't think Farf had a point last week. I'm sure he only had 1 point. I'm just taking a look to see. Farf, you've only scored 1 point so far, which is in China. And unfortunately, you didn't get a point last week, so there it is. Unfortunately, we went back to Australia. I want to go to Bathurst. Yes. One thing I would love to see on F1 games, and I really wish this was a feature, was like adding in extra tracks like you can on like the PC games. I think that's mainly more older F1 games you can do, can't you? Where you can add like tracks from anywhere you want, really. Of course, you can add the Bathurst in. Because I play a game called F1 Challenge, a very old game to be honest. I think it came out in 2003, which also hurts my soul because a lot of you may not have even been born now, which shows how old I am. Golly gosh then. But I'd love to if you can get like older tracks in here. I would have Bathurst in here. To be honest, I can't even get around the I can't even get up the climb to be honest. But that's because I got a big rear posterior. I would also like to have like Le Mans in this as well. That'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it? Like having a very long lap. Because how long it would take to get an F1 car around Le Mans then. Probably about, I don't know, to be honest. It takes 3 minutes, doesn't it, for a prototype? It's not called a prototype anymore. It's a hypercar, isn't it? Goodness gracious me. Sports car is not my forte. Far from it. I'd love to see like the Nordschleife as well. Of course, the Green How on being able to get into this game as well. To be honest, I think if you could do stuff like that, this game would probably have a little higher of a ceiling. So you could, I think, classic tracks like it was on the F1 2013 game, and also we did have short tracks on 2020, or do we have the classic tracks? Well, I can't remember. But having extra tracks, I think would make this game a lot more popular. I think then, personally. So yeah, bring back the tracks. Then I'd like to hear what tracks you like to bring up. We could have that as a Q&A, couldn't we? Really, to keep the interaction up and all that kind of stuff. I'd also like to know what your favorite liveries are then, because all 11 teams, yes, 11 teams on the grid, fantastic. Then better than 10. I'd rather have 12. I'd rather have 13. I'd rather have the old school pre-qualifying where teams wasn't able to line up on the grid because there was only 26 spots then. But that's because I am old. But I'd love to see more teams on the grid because more teams means more drivers, more variety, and it makes it more exciting as well. But of course, I would say bring back Minardi. That would be great, wouldn't it, to have the Minardi back in the fold then. Maybe Super Guri as well. Of course, they was only around for 2 seasons and a bit, weren't they? Of course, they folded after the Spanish Grand Prix in 2008. I don't think did they start that race. They may have started that race, but I'm sure they didn't do much in that race, unfortunately. Whatever. To be honest, we could also have Andrea Moda, if anyone remembers that team. Goodness gracious me! If you remember that team fondly, then goodness me, you need to go back in the horror stories that Perry McCarthy had to go through, as of course it was quite shocking. 17. I think that team was kicked out of the championship. Is that the one and only F1 team that's been kicked out of the championship? Potentially. Goodness gracious me, because there's a lot of teams that have gone bust. Of course, the Coloni team when they had that bright yellow car, didn't they have? They also had that Subaru engine as well, didn't they? There were so many engines back in the early 90s. You had Lamborghini as well, which was pretty cool to see. And of course, I think they powering like didn't Lamborghini have their own team, which was meant to be? I think they were called, what was they called? Modena or something like that. I think it was named after their base or something, or where their base is located in Italy, which was technically the Lamborghini team, but I think they pulled out after one season. If anyone remembers Nicola Larini, who of course drove for Ferrari for a few races in 1994, and of course who also drove in for Sauber in 97 as well, getting Sauber's first point on the board that season as well for Nicola Larini. Goodness gracious me! But I think he then pulled out, didn't he? And then the legend himself, Gianni Morbidelli, came in. I'm just waffling now. I love it. But of course, yes, all 11 teams that are now, all 11 teams have been have been revealed, which is really cool stuff indeed. I do like the Cadillac. It's interesting, isn't there? I'm getting flashbacks to the BAR in '99 where where they had a split livery, but I think Cadillac have done a pretty decent job. I'm a little disappointed though that they ain't yellow. I would love to have seen yellow and black because I do want a yellow car back on the grid. I am an old fan favorite of the old Jordan team. Then that's another team we need to bring back, isn't it? What I'd like to see ALR do one time, but I think that it's kind of a pipe dream of mine. Is like, of course, have drivers have some of the guys and gals in the server like owning their own team and picking their own drivers. That'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it? But that is a pipe dream as well, and of course, and maybe like having maybe on custom cars and you're able to like have Jordans and stuff like that. That'd be pretty cool. But unfortunately, the customization on this. Farf Sass, he's ready. He's ready when I'm ready. I'm ready, Farf. But unfortunately, the customization on this game is not it's not very good, is it? Then not like well, even Gran Turismo is pretty good, isn't it? But yes, we are here in Spain tonight. Then of course we go from Canada, which could be a penalty fest, to here tonight where you need a decent setup. Then of course last night there was a lot of incidents and actions. And of course one thing that I think the head stewards were not really impressed with was the amount of voting going on. There was a lot of whispers going on about. Don't get me wrong, I love the interaction. I love it, of course. It was great to have like 200 odd viewers and stuff like that. But of course, there I think that there was a couple of drivers that had raised eyebrows, didn't they, to say the least? Stars has left the session, so he's got a raised eyebrow as well, or maybe he just doesn't want to participate in the Spanish Grand Prix potentially. But anyway, we haven't got cards on circuit yet, but I think we do have a full grid, don't we? Let me have a look up and down. Fantastic. We have got a full grid. Magnificent stuff indeed. I'm a very happy chappy about that. Great stuff indeed there. Yes, I know it was talking about, yeah, my favourite livery. Ooh. I do like the Red Bull. I don't. I can't believe I'm saying that, but I do like the Red Bull. That does look pretty nifty. The Aston Martin. I do have a soft spot for green racing cars as well, mainly because Jaguar, the 2000 Jaguar, is one of my favourite livery cars of all time. I love that car. I'm very excited as well. As I was one of those guys that was very much buzzing to see. I've gone all the way around, haven't I, to see who was the first driver out on track. I think it's Jenner who's the first out on track there, which is traditional in silver and in any championship that Jenner's in. He loves to get out on track first, doesn't he, to really get his eye in, doesn't he, Jenner? Of course, a Grand Prix winner, won the opening race of the season, did Jenner. Haas are leading the Constructors' Championship now as well. So, of course, the Haas team are doing a very good job at the moment at the top of the tree, with pot stuff as well, also getting on the board, which is great stuff indeed. Hammer Time, good luck everyone. Good to see Hammer Time in the comment section as well. Lovely jubbly. Coming into Farf curb, of course. Why? Because I think Farf crashed there a couple of years ago. And of course, we also mentioned that wasn't Morris got taken up by the safety car last night, but I think Marky also got taken up by the safety car as well. So Bert Mylander is probably. Oh, is that Ginner's back end is already oversteering now, and I'm wondering if it is just how hot the track is here tonight in Spain. Of course, we've done a shakedown, as F1 is called. Of course, it was basically testing behind closed doors, which is an interesting development there. There we go. I'll follow turn over Jenner to set us on a journey. But I'm wondering, because the track is so hot, and it's not as hot as it's completely not hot compared to what it was in Shakedown a few weeks ago. And tomorrow night as well, I think that doesn't testing start tomorrow in Bahrain, so I'm looking forward to that then. Very interesting stuff indeed then, to see how to see what the cars have got then, because I think Shakedown was just basically making sure that all the systems were complete and all that kind of stuff. We ain't going to get a full pecking of the order, I don't think, until Australia, maybe even what's the second round of the season? Is it China? I don't know, to be honest. I probably should know, but there you go. But I do think that I'm looking forward to this season. I like the cars as well. It's a lot of optimism as well, but it does depend on who you're talking to. If you're talking to the Haas drivers, I don't mean Ginner and Potstuff. I mean Ocon and Behrman. They are not as optimistic as some other drivers are about overtaking them. But even so, the cars look lovely, don't they? I do prefer them. SC did claim 2 yesterday, says Nosey. And there's a car right in front of us there, and I think the Ginner is going to be very unhappy at that. That was blocking for one of the Mercedes drivers, and unfortunately it's Riley, because the other Mercedes is currently tucked up in the pit lane. Ginner goes across the line to go 12.899. That may hamper, that probably hampered Ginner ever so slightly, but whether that hampers his final finish and position in qualifying remains to be seen then. Nigel, no points on the board so far for the first ever ALR World Champion, of course the Season 5 Champion of Silver as well, but currently no points on the board. Key, of course, a multiple time Grand Prix winner, one of the highest, one of the most pole positionist men in ALR at the moment. Now, is that a word? No, it's not. Chlorine Pilot, of course, another driver that hasn't scored a points yet then. As there's a Williams 1-2 at the moment. There, goodness me, we're back to 1997, aren't we, of course, where the last time that Williams won a Drivers' and a Constructors' Championship with Jacques Villeneuve and, of course, Heinz Harold Frentzen, who I've also got a soft spot for as well. Hello to Seymour, of course, commentary guy for the win. Thank you very much, Seymour. Of course, even if I'm not like spluttering all over my laptop, or if I'm not basically tripping over my words, which is basically what I do a lot of the time, and I was basically making grunting noises last night because of how action-packed the Grand Prix was. Riley goes fast, and Riley's been a bit of a doldrums in the last couple of weeks or so, hasn't he? In terms of his form on the old form book, then, as I take a look at Riley, he hasn't scored since his epic Grand Prix win in the Chinese Grand Prix back in round 2. So Riley needs to get himself back on the board now in terms of getting some points. Otherwise, this championship could be over then. I don't think this championship is over for long way away, as the real Fig there just getting out of the way, or the Fry getting out of the way of the real Fig here in the Kick Sauber course. It's the last season we're going to have Kick Sauber, or the Sauber team on the grid, the legendary Sauber team. Sauber did go off the grid for a couple of seasons when they was Alfa Romeo before returning the Sauber name a few seasons ago, before they become Audi next season as well, which I'm looking forward to commentating over an Audi Formula 1 team. That's going to be really cool indeed. The real Fig goes 12 fastest, and Debo Croc out on circuit. And of course, Debo Croc gets in 2 points last time out there. He had a really good 4th position in Saudi Arabia earlier on the season when he was super subbing in for the McLaren Mercedes. Debo Croc goes into 11 fastest. KD, I think that at the moment then the man on form is this man here. It's KD again, having 3 podiums in the opening 5 races for KD, and potentially could have and should have got more in Saudi Arabia as well. Only 8th position in Saudi Arabia, but 3rd fastest out for the American driver as we go down into turn 1. We've got what was that? Good heavens above! It must be my fan mail. Tory out of turn 12, out of turn 13, maybe it's turn 13 and 14. Glad we've gone back to the old school circle around here. Tory goes 6 fast, of course. One of the top 3 that have been raced away in the Drivers' Championship in Silver. I was saying that Silver's going to be one of the closest seasons in ALR history. While at the moment the top 3 are starting to race away. Knowlesy coming through Cox Corner. Why is that? Because John Cox on his 50th Grand Prix start in ALR Gold crashed quite heavily there. Unfortunately, of course, John Cox, a multiple time, I think a 1-2-time Grand Prix winner in Gold, then hasn't raced for us for the last couple of seasons or so, but good stuff indeed then. So we got real action then. Will Knowlesy win 5 in a row? So much he can get his hair cut. Knowlesy has not won a race in Silver in his career yet, but he has won 3 races in his Gold career. Of course, Knowlesy, and remember, was in his early years in Grand Prix racing, was very much a challenger to the likes of Emerson. But how times have changed, and of course Emerson's still yet to get off the board in Gold, of course. And of course, but whilst Knowlesy then, he was now in the Silver Championship, along with Farf, who's also a 3-time Grand Prix winner in Gold as well, also applying his trade in Silver. Smithy Almighty, 3rd in the Championship in Bronze last season, is 11th at the moment, and I think he's had a very solid season, is Smithy Almighty. Really impressive stuff indeed. His qualifying maybe something that's hamstringing him at the moment, but I think that Smithy's had a very good, strong race pace. Even Ginger's groin, and says so much. Goodness me, I don't want to be talking about my groin just yet. Of course, it's only Tuesday night, of course. coming out of Farf Corner and coming up into Cox Corner for Jinner. We do need to have some more corner names, don't we, of ALR drivers? We need to remember some more horrific accidents. Spectacular accidents. Oh, Jinner there, hacksawing away at that steering wheel there. I don't think that car feels very compliant for Jinner tonight. And his teammate Poststuff currently second on the road at the moment, or second in the timing standings. Out of the final turn there for Jinner coming up to the line. The line comes up quite quickly around here, and that's pole position there. I'm going to wind my neck in. I'm going to hold my tongue because Jinner is fastest there. And I know absolutely nothing about this grid then, which is nothing unusual, is it really? Because I don't think I've ever been right. Here's Farf coming through Cox Corner. I'm going to keep an eye on what Kiki does as he flies into Cox Corner as well. DRS on the exit. 2 DRS zones around here, unlike last night where we had 3. Then as we go down into the reprofiled turn 10 then. And who's out on the exit? I think that's Farf and his pink machine just getting out of the way of Kiki. My laptop keeps packing up, Ginge. Fix it. Have you tried turning it off and back on? How did the fun? Oh, Kiki! That's a slap on the wrist. He's out of bounds, out of play. We do not rent that part of the circuit, my good sir. Dynamo Dan, he's on a really good run of form. Dynamo Dan is scored in every single Grand Prix this season. That's absolutely fantastic for Dynamo Dan there. Best sort of 5th position in the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix round 3. Mumford, oh goodness me, pole position for Mumford. Mumford is on pole position in the opening 2 rounds of the season in Australia and China. That only yielded 5 points, but when he does get on pole position, he does score points. He hasn't scored points so since the Chinese Grand Prix. Having said that, of course, Mumford has not raced in Saudi Arabia or Miami, as Mumford is not a fan of the newer tracks, I believe. I think he had some errands to take care of. Here's Farf. Farf always has a lot of errands. And of course, Farf is not very popular at the moment with the gold drivers after his shenanigans in the safety car last night. Has taken out 2 drivers at Farf in the form of Markey and Morris. We cannot blame as I think Riley's got back up to 3rd position. We cannot blame Bernd Mylander. Bernd Mylander, an experienced touring car driver, and hasn't Bernd Mylander been in that safety car since like 2003 or 2004? I think Oliver Gavin drove the safety car in 2002. If I remember rightly, which I do not. The mushroom cop corner. Oh, that was close. KD's on pole position. Goodness gracious me! As the lap time is starting to come down, they're starting to become a bit of a limbo session out here tonight. KD pole position. McLaren have had a monopoly on pole position. They've had 3 pole positions in the opening 5 Grand Prix, and McLaren, like last season, do have the edge of pace over the rest of the field, but they haven't been able to get the job done. Having said that, KD, of course, is leading the championship. If my memory serves me correctly, so that ain't too bad, is it? Is it Riley in 4th position? Tory goes up into 5th at the moment. I will make sure to let others pass on the final lap in the 5th race, says Real Ashton. It says Nosey to Real Ashton there. Of course, I think that United guy, is his name United Stand or something, on the TikTok. He's going to have his haircut tonight if United win against the West Ham then, which that's been going on for a very long time. His pot stuff goes second fastest there. I'm trying to keep up with KD at the moment there. Of course, KD is the measuring stick of silver at the moment there in terms of leading the Drivers' Championship. Chlorine Pilot there, flicking it into turn 13, flicking it into turn 14 then, coming out of the final turn. So I have to keep a long hair. That's a bit selfish, says Sir Smash. In Canada was the best gold race ever. Don't knock it. Whoa, my goodness me, what happened there? And goodness gracious me, there was something gone wrong with that Ferrari. Well, obviously, because he's whistling a nose cone now. But I was looking down at the comments there. What happened? I think... well, it looks like the Chlorine Pilot was warming up his tyres and just veered off that. Goodness gracious me. Of course, Adrian Sutil spun when he first opened the DRS in the Australian Grand Prix of 2011. I know that because I watched the season 11 season review last week or so it was. I was going into Mika Bab. The United Strand is his name. Oh, thank you. United Stand. That's someone else. It's the United Stand. But United Strand is much better, isn't it? Of course, indeed. I do kind of want United not to win, mainly because I'm a Liverpool fan. Boo, I know. But I read a horrific statistic about Liverpool earlier on. Then Smithfield Mighty, that's not horrific. He goes into 10th position at the moment. Knowlesy back out on circuit, but is not having the best time out there. He's 12th at the moment in the Aston Martin, and in front of his teammate Kiki, which I would say pound for pound, Kiki is probably quicker than Knowlesy on a one-lap pace there. As Chlorine Pilot into the pits, Debo Croc is gone into 17th position at the moment, but I think Knowlesy does have the advantage there. It's a very well balanced team, the Aston Martin team is. But of course, we've already seen the team tactics come into play in Australia. But since Australia, Aston Martin seems to be on a downward spiral. So they kind of need to get, they don't kind of need to. They need to get themselves back on track, don't they? Because Aston Martin, since Australia, have not scored anywhere near the points tally that they scored in Australia. So I think that Lawrence Stroll, like the stream last night at the Aston Martin launch, which by the way I found very funny, but I don't know why, because I'm a child. Out to the final turn, there comes Camera Racer, and up to the line now. Then Camera Racer, of course, a multiple time poles to turn around here. How did he slide off in a straight line? Says Serious Motion there. Of course, when you wonder if it might have been DRS and all Chlorine Pilot may have been looking down like I was looking down, as I was looking down the comments and nothing else. If I do look down, I would see a big belly, and then after that, I'll see my very cool Homer Simpson slippers. I need to get them on because it's a bit chilly in here, and I'm also quite tight when it comes to the old heating bill. I don't know why that tickled me. Right, United stand is Mark Goldbridge. Oh yes, I know him. He's quite a animated guy, isn't he? I must admit, he does make me laugh, especially when he used to lambast Harry Maguire. But no, I think the Liverpool's. I'm sure that I've seen somewhere that in the last I don't know when it was, but basically, Slot has only won six games since October, September, something like that. And I think that in that time period, Roy Hodgson also won about 6 games as well. So not very good, is it, there, if you're a Liverpool fan? But there you go. But to be honest, there, as the camera racer goes for a position, but as a man who thinks that he's Mystic Meg, or more like I'm the Megalodon rather than anything else there. Unfortunately, I'm not as cool as the Megalodon. I'm just a big old beached whale. Yes. But anyway, yes. What am I talking about? I do not know. Goodness me, I've had too much bacon today. Good gracious alive. Here's Hungry Stars coming into far corner. But yes, unlike Mystic Meg, I cannot tell the future, but I did think the Slots was a fraud, as because he won the Premier League last year because everyone else was crap, and not because Liverpool was good. But that's just me. Let's go home, my silver home settled beast, and of course Ultimate Beast, a former champion in silver, season 8 maybe, or season 7. Picking out of the back of my brain, I should probably just go and have a look, but unfortunately I don't want to bend down, because if I do that, then unfortunately I might fluctuate. Out to the final turn now for Styles, up to the line, DRS, the finish line comes in quite quickly. Styles, like Smithfield Mighty, has also been impressive as well. However, unlike Smithfield Mighty, he's had a lot more bad luck in races. I remember last week, the Kick Sauber team was tripping over each other. They was basically kicking lumps out of each other, living up to the Kick Sauber name, and I feel that they did cost themselves valuable points, because neither car got into the points in the end there, and Donald Dan snuck in the back door. Oh, goodness me. What a sneaky devil he is. Well then, who's going to be, here's Slothven. Sloth down into turn 1, and Slothven is 16th fastest as he finishes up, because he's used a lot of verse deployment. You do need a lot of verse deployment going down that long back straight, and very unusual to have such a long back straight in this modern age of Formula 1. Across the 2,000 second up, then Sloth is at the limit of this Red Bull racing car. And now again, as we come up into turn 5 as well, then got a bit of shade under there, so that might give a little bit of respite to the tires. But this circuit is very much a car circuit, isn't it? If you have a poor setup, you're going to struggle in this race there. And of course, this is the infamous race as well, where I had a bit of snifflegate, as Serious Mushroom calls it, where I had to park it, and I still got a license point there because Farf is a unruly so-and-so. Oh, it's Sloth. It's very much sliding there out of turn 10 and 11, I believe. It's there, as you can see, the Honda logo. That is a very uncompliant car. and I'm wondering if Sloth's going to call it quits here. Then no, yes, he's carrying on then, as this the last dying emblems of this qualifying session. Sloth across the line. He does not improve. That is a horrific final sector for Sloth then. That car was just all over the show. Smithy Almighty has broken into the top 10 and currently matching his teammate Tori, who's second in the Drivers' Championship. So that's a pretty impressive marker to lay down. Jenner has just gone into third position there for Jenner. Across the line goes Vesser. He's in 11th. Vesser a bit beyond the 8-ball tonight. Reflections has gone down to 13 because Dino and Dan has moved us out to 9th. And Riley's had an off, I think. That is KD's on pole position then with the checker flag fluttering in the Spanish breeze. And what about Pot Stuff? Pot Stuff cannot match it. KD is currently on pole. What about Tori? Tori coming up to the line now. Mumford down into 5th and Tori is staying in 6th and Nigel is in 10th position. We got a lot of drivers who haven't finished their laps. Nosey up into 9th position for Nosey. Fantastic stuff indeed. Devo Croc across the line. Devo Croc goes 17th fastest. And what about Chlorine Pilot stays 19th. And Farfair is on a leisurely Sunday drive, but it's KD, pole position number 2 of the season. McLaren's number 4 of the season. Well, McLaren's first pole position since Saudi Arabia. McLaren, my goodness me, they got a monopoly on pole positions. 4 pole positions in the opening 6 races this season. Absolutely spectacular stuff indeed. And that is KD's 4th pole position of his career. And that matches his teammate Mumford with 4 pole positions as well. KD's 4th pole position in his 21st qualifying attempt now. Pretty impressive stuff there for KD. He's becoming of age in silver. He's doing a grand job in that McLaren. And I feel that he's finally settled in to a very good team then who's working around him. Magnificent stuff indeed. Lovely. By the way, thank you very much. So we got more subscribers now. We're on 721 subscribers, but sadly I don't get any emails anymore, which I don't know why. I'm going to have a word with my PA to understand what's going on there. I think who is my PA? I don't know, to be honest. There, I don't think. I reckon serious questions with my PA. But I need to have a word about my emails because yes, I don't get like the names of new subscribers anymore, which is really annoying me, to be honest, because I do like to give a shout out or two and all that kind of stuff. Gosh, he's saying shout out. He is so professional here tonight, don't I? Fantastic indeed. Right, let me get rid of all these notifications then, because this is going to be an action-packed Spanish Grand Prix. KD, the championship leader, is on pole position for the 4th time in his career. No, it's Pot Stuff who's the championship leader, but he is second on the grid. KD, who's from second in the championship, is first then. So the top 2 have swapped around. Tori is third in the championship, all the way down in 6th position there. Mumford hoping to get some good points on the board, and it's been a horrific start to the season for Mumford, who potentially could have been the pre-season favourite in that McLaren. As we go on to the Grand Prix. Ooh. Well, to us, I kind of hope it's not as exciting race as last night, because I was absolutely buzzing after that race. I was, I'm not sure buzzing was the right word actually. I think I started the adrenaline about 10 o'clock last night, and I got to say the interviews went on for so long. I apologise. Goodness me, a lot of people wanted to go to bed, didn't they? Goodness gracious me. Right, on with the show. I want to see your long hair, Sirius Rusham. I'm hoping Knowles on about the hair from Sirius Rusham's head and nowhere else. Then again, unless he's got a hairy back potential. Maybe he's got a big bushy beard. Well, it's not as hot as it was in qualifying. It's quite overcast here in Spain. Be interesting to know if we've got any rain on the horizon. Of course, when you talk about rain, you automatically go to the 1996 Spanish Grand Prix, where Schumacher, with an absolute clinic in Grand Prix racing there, dominated that race, and it showed the skill of the man, didn't it? The 7-time world champion Michael Schumacher, his first win in the Scuderia Ferrari, and hopefully Ferrari be hoping for a win today, even from Reflections on Chlorine Pilot. But Chlorine Pilot's had an issue on the start-finish line. Reflections is starting in the midfield at the moment there. Happy 130th start, by the way, to Reflections tonight. Incredible statistics. Reflection is barely missed a race since he's joined us, which is absolutely fantastic stuff indeed there for Reflections. Absolutely appreciate your innings. So as we go on to the formation lap, then of course this is the lap where you got to prepare the tyres and also make sure that your car is in pristine working order for the start of that long run down into turn 1. Is this the longest drag from the start from pole position down into turn 1? No, I think that is Mexico. I think the longest drag from the start line down into a first braking point, which was Russia, wasn't it? We haven't seen Russia on the calendar since F1 at 2021 for obvious reasons. Anyway, KD, pole position for the 4th time in his career in 21 qualifying attempts. Pots up the championship leader. If they finish where they start tonight, that means that KD is the new championship leader already. I've already christened him champion, goodness me. Third position is Jenner then. Jenner has got some great qualifying, but I think the unfortunate downside about the great qualifying is that he fires up his tyres too much in the race. I hypothesize, I say. Same with Camera Racer as well. I think the Camera Racer probably has the same problem as Jenner. But then again, I could be completely wrong, and whoa, what's that? What happened there? Mumford then is on the grass. I wonder if he was just making some settings out. Of course, these Formula 1 cars are such a technical marvel, aren't they? There's the amount of buttons on this steering wheel. It's absolutely ridiculous. That's why I normally go off in a straight line, because I'm trying to figure out the controllers. Maldonado did that as well in the 2014 Chinese Grand Prix practice session. I don't think he had a very good week. I don't think he had a very good weekend, did he? Did he, Maldonado? Because I think he also crashed coming in the pit lane in practice too. Smithy has been disqualified, that naughty devil, down in 8th position there. Knowlesy on the hard tyres, the first driver on the hard tyres. Dynamo Dan 10th. Nigel on the 11th. Can he get some points off the board? Goodness me, what's going on here? Styles in 12th position. Vassar down in 13th. A bit behind the 8 ball tonight is Vassar. Reflections 14th. Kiki, the second driver on the hard tyres. And both Aston Martins not splitting their strategies. The Real Fig 16th. Devo Croc 17th. Sloth 18th. Chlorine Pilot with a beautiful purple helmet 19th. And Far Freeze at the rear in a 20th position. 20 cars on the grid. No super subsidized then, which is great for me on Friday. Becca or pasta? Open files, says Serious Mushroom. I'm going to be honest, I was wondering what you was on about there, Mushroom. I thought we was going on to something else. 5 lights are on here in España! And it's lights out, and they go off the grid like raging bulls as we go down into turn 1 then. And of course, there's a long drag down to turn 1. We've got Ghosting already then. But look at that, as Camera Racers trying to barge pot stuff in. Trying to get pot stuff off the circuit then ever so sorry. I think that's the wrong wording. But that's a terrible start from pot stuff and the 2 Haas cars. Oh, an appalling start then. As now on the outside goes Tori, who's had a magnificent start indeed. That yellow flag in the background. Riley's down at the back of the field. He hasn't scored since his Grand Prix win in Canada 5 weeks ago then, as Jenner is now in the 3rd position. Pot Stuff is all the way down into 15th. A terrible start from Pot Stuff, as I think it was Camera Racer then. They're trying to strong on Pot Stuff. I said that he was trying to get him off the circuit. I think that was harsh for me. No, I didn't really meant to say that. I was saying that he was trying to strong arm. It's Knowles off, and there's damage to the Aston Martin. He's on the inside of Cox corner then, and Knowles had damage as well then. It's an action-packed start to the Spanish Grand Prix. But KD is having a leisurely drive then, and what a start for KD. Camera Racer at 2 positions. Jenner no position there. Tori at 2 positions as well. Nigel's at 5 positions. Vesser at 5 positions as well. And Farf at 9 positions. Once again, underlining that launch control inside that racing ball then. That one completed. The gap is 7/10 of a second as we have a long drag down into turn 1. DRS will be enabled on this lap. So Camera Racer then forcing Pot Stuff almost off the rope then as well. And as he was trying to hurt Potstuff's run into turn 1 there, which I think is all fine and dandy, but whether Potstuff agrees to that remains to be seen. But he's down into 17th position. Maybe he's a bit too strong for Camera Racer, but I do not know, because I was struggling to understand where I was. Mumford in 5th, Nigel in 6th position, Diamond down at 7th with Vester doing a good job in 8th position, Reflections on 130th star in 9th, Stars in 10th position, Farf with launch control in 11th position, and I think he's got option 13 on that race and 4, if you know, you know from the better 10 years at 94. Sloth in 12th position with Devo Croc in 13th, Kiki 14th, Smith Almighty also on an equally bad start in 15th, with Chlorine Pilot up 3, Riley down 10, Potts up down 16, Real Fig down 3, and Knowlesy right at the back of the field. As Knowlesy got damage, because I thought that there was an end plate missing off our Aston Martin machine. No, it's not. It's just me making up vicious rumours. Now then, Camera Racer is in DRS range of KD. I'm sure KD won this race in the event league several seasons ago then, and it was a pretty emphatic race. And so whether we're going to get a bit of rewind here tonight, as Camera Racer has a look down into turn 1 then, is he was gaining quite rapidly at the end of that straight. So I think that might be alarm bells then for KD. Up the inside goes, I think that's Devo Croc then, as Devo Croc is off the circuit, and goodness me, now I wonder if Devo Croc's car just snapped a bit of oversteer there, and unfortunately lost a bit of the car there. As who's that? As Tori, for someone's having issues there, but Tori's still in the same position, but goodness gracious me, very difficult stuff indeed then. Go on, Farf, catch Bessier. Oh goodness me, yes, Farf is well within striking distance, I shouldn't say that, in striking distance of his teammate Bessier. Of course, there's a lot of history between Bessier and Farf. They always seem to come to blows. Having said that then, of course, the Japanese Grand Prix is one of my all-time favourites, as they did start off doing team tactics, and then all of a sudden they just started tripping over each other. As Bessier is all over the back of Dynamo Dan like a bad suit here, in that beautiful pink racing bull, and of course as Bessier and Farf are modelling here tonight then, out of the final turn once again then, as Bessier taking a lot of the of the grass out of the final turn, and Camera Racer alongside KD and takes the lead into turn 1. KD is going to try to hold on the outside, but things better of it then, but unfortunately that's really, whoa, contact again there between the two cars, as KD trying to reclaim the racing line there, and I don't think he's seen Jenner on the outside, and now Tori's on the outside of Jenner, and Tori's going to go on the outside. Is he going to go round? Has he got the position? He might have the position. There is Jenner trying to give him just about an Alpine's width of car space there, but Jenner is down into 4th. Tori is up into 3rd position. Magnificent racing indeed. Smithy is trying to recover, but he's on the inside of Kiki, outside of Kiki, down in 40th finish. But remember, Kiki fans, he's on the hard tyres. Farfu's the last driver on the grid then, and the last driver with the hard tyres is now the leader driver on the hard tyres, whilst Nosey, who's the leading hard runner, is now at the back of the field, is now the last of the hard runner, if you get the cut of my jib. Sloth is about 2.25 seconds away from the top 10. DRS, and of course, is sadly being quite a major factor in the outcome of some of these races in recent years in the ALR. However, of course, we got a overtake option now, as Vescher's got past Dynamo Dan then very early on down this down the start-finish straight, and the Dynamo Dan has got no speed down there. Is that a setup? Characteristic of the Red Bull, or has Dynamo Dan made a mistake? Then I do not know the answer to that, because I wasn't paying attention there. Shame on me. Camera Racer leads this race. Second position is KD at the moment. On board with Reflections is Hungry Stars is all over the gearbox of the Bronze World Champion then. Of course, these two were going at it in the Bronze Championship, and now we're in Silver, and now they're fighting in the midfield of the Silver Championship. Fantastic stuff indeed. Wow, that was a lot for your brain to spit out, says Here's Bishop. I'm not going to go down that road. I was going to say something else, but let's carry on with the show. Be decorum in this commentary box tonight, for once anyway. That 5 out of 33 there, of course, that new bridge that was constructed last season or the season before, that I do not know. But yes, of course, next season there'll be overtake mode, wouldn't there, as well, where there's active aero on the Formula 1 machines, where the rear wing and the front wing basically DRS on the front wing as well as the rear wing next year, which is very interesting indeed. Let's see how that one transpires next season. Of course, Dynamo Dan has left the session there, as I'm wondering, and that's a shame. And Camera Racer's got a 3-second penalty, and that's not ideal for Camera Racer then, as unfortunately we got a lot of overtake. Well, not unfortunately, got a lot of overtaking opportunities. Unfortunately for Dynamo Dan, then he's slipping down the order. Farfus lost out to Smithy, as Smithy is through him into 12 position there, far from the hard tyres. The hard tyre runners are not making hay at the moment, and I'm wondering if these cooler track conditions are really hampering the hard tyre runners. Let's see, because of course it's far too early to make predictions and assumptions about the track temperature, of course, even though it's very overcast out there. You can see as we're on board of KD, look at that black cloud over yonder there, goodness gracious me. That looks quite threatening to me, so we could see a bit of rain then, but we need a lot of rain because the track is very hot there. You can see the heat haze coming off of the tarmac down that back straight. So we got three drivers as both the Williams drivers, and looking like that they've both got penalties, unfortunately. And I'm wondering if that's just the characteristics of the Williams car. Out of the final turn once again, KD I think looks a bit more comfortable in the race then compared to Cameron. But of course, he does have DRS there, and I don't think KD is going to want to do the overtaking just yet as you go down to turn 1. But the top 4 are top 5, I should say then, and top 6 actually, top 7, top 8 are all in DRS range. Hungry Stars is had an issue somewhere. He's out of DRS range. He's lost about almost half a second now to reflections there. I say. Unfortunately for Dynamo Dan, dropping out of the session. Remember that Knowlesy, oh dear me. Unfortunately, Knowlesy there, of course. What's happened? As Key is slough off the circuit. A great start for Slough, but he has spun the car and has dropped down the order, and his teammate. This is going absolutely to pot for the Red Bull team. A horror show. Donovan Dan was in a great position in the points then, and Slothman, who was looking strong as well, he's lost both end plates, and now at the back of the field. That is surely an early pit stop for the Milton Keynes outfit. That's not ideal at all, unfortunately, for Slothman, who is hoping to get off the board some points here tonight. Out of the final turn once again as we're back up with the front runners then. Camera leads, second is KD with Tori in third position now. As it stands at the moment then, KD will take the lead in the Drivers' Championship. Potstuff all the way down into 60th position. Potstuff is the championship leader at the moment, and he can probably see on the monitors around him that of course we've got KD fighting for position, fighting for the Grand Prix lead. Chlorine Pilot on the outside, as Riley is trying to come through Slough out of the Grand Prix, and Slough out of the Grand Prix before he even got to 1/3 race distance. Unfortunately, the damage would have been too great for the Red Bull driver. Riley having a look then, hoping to end his pointless streak then here tonight. He hasn't scored any points since that incredible win in Saudi Arabia a couple of weeks ago then, which I gotta say, I gotta pinch myself to say that. It feels like I'm talking absolute hogwash. But, yeah, that is the facts at the moment, or certainly the facts on my spreadsheet. Oh, goodness me. On board Jitter now. So Jitter's looking quite content at this moment in time, isn't it? I think last race it really was not looking too great for Jitter, was it? But not looking too bad now from Jitter's viewpoint. He's the leading Haas driver. I was wondering then if Jitter may start to think about helping his teammate out, but I think that's far too early. Of course, he's only 28 points away in the Drivers' Championship, so he's got an overtake for the lead. Then KD locks up. Camera Racer on the outside there as KD slams the door shut, and Tori's going to try his own party trick maneuver he did on Jitter. As now Jitter trying to go up the inside as well. Then it should go into turn 4, but Jitter swooping on the outside now. Then very aggressive from Jitter, the race winner from Australia. My word, now it's starting to. It's been I think it's just been let it settle for the time being, hasn't it? And now all of a sudden, then they're starting to get a bit hasty out there, aren't they? Stars, the top 8 are very much in DRS. Reflex is just about keeping himself in DRS range of Vessier. The top 2, sorry, no, the top out of the top 2, no, out of the top 8, I should say. Then 2 drivers does have a 3-second penalty. It's both the Williams driver. I try to spit that one out as well. So KD is trying to race away then. His Camera Racer has had a bit of a difficult lap then. And I think that all came down to Dynamo Dan's back in the session, but he's going to be horrified to see himself down in 19th position. I think he's also going to be horrified to see his teammate is now well out, is also out of the Grand Prix and well outside the points as well. So both Red Bulls have it's completely turned on their head, hasn't it? As Vestier getting close to Nigel, but not close enough. Styles there just in the background, just outside of DRS range at the moment is Styles. Look at of the dirty air. The understeer from that Williams is very apparent in turn 3. Of course, this is very much a setup circuit there, and there is going to be a lot of dirty air in this one. The real fit then is lost out for Potstuff. Potstuff now needs to recover. He's the championship leader. Potstuff is after a fine drive last time out then for Potstuff to get the full shebang of the 25 points. But here tonight, I think he needs to just pick up points where he can then, because this race at the moment is gone completely to pot for Potstuff. Knowlesy has got a 3-second penalty then. So Knowlesy, unfortunately, I think feeling the dirty air from the back of that kick Sauber, the real fig, unfortunately. Vessier does look quite quick behind Nigel there, and I think that Nigel is going to be a little undeterred, then. Undeterred? Deterred. I think it's the word, actually, determined, isn't it? Seeing how close Vessier's getting. Reflection is also starting to get very close then to the back of Vessier as well. And there is Styles, and Styles is just a whisker outside of DRS range. As we go down the start-finish straight, Nigel says all becoming a bit of a DRS train at the moment as Riley is into the pits then. So Riley coming into the pits then for the Mercedes, and I think that's the first of the routine pit stoppers then. So Riley into the pits there after third race this then. Can the hard tires get to the end from here? Well, that is one thing that remains to be seen then. Of course, with no Spanish Grand Prix last night, of course, we had the Canadian Grand Prix in gold. So the drivers are going to be having to work out a lot of the strategies for themselves. It depends on which driver is going to be able to change the strategy on the fly though. You deter me, says Sirius Mushroom. How dare you. That's it. That is it. No more crowdfunding for you, Mushroom. Shocking stuff indeed. Then. Oh, I've got a massive headache all of a sudden. I think I'm shouting too much, and I might have to let me sit down and take a pew, because I think that this one, it could be a slow burner, is there? After the action-packed Grand Prix of last night, I don't mind a slow burner tonight, which I know a lot of you would rather see the action of last night, which I must admit I enjoyed it last night, but I know that the stewards was not too happy about some of the racecraft that was on display last night. And of course, I think that in the gold announcements, there was a chatter about getting away with the getting rid of as Kiki is through, passes Smithy, and the hard runners are now starting to look a bit quicker. Potstuff passes Chlorine Pilot. The gap is now 3 seconds. Oh, Potstuff though, his back end is snaking around, and that is not ideal, and that is going to really help Chlorine Pilot there, and really entice Chlorine Pilot up into get back past Potstuff, but no dice at the moment. The other overtake there was Kiki on the hard tyres. It's got past Smithy. The gap is 4 seconds between Kiki and Styles is caught up to the back of that crocodile. So now Styles is in this queue of cars, but I haven't said that Mumford is out of DRS range. The top 4 has raced away from Mumford, and Mumford needs to get back in DRS then if he wants to get a toe down the start-finish straight. Chlorine Pilot has had issues there at Cox Corner. He is recovering now, and Chlorine Pilot, unfortunately, has lost an abundance amount of time. Race leader, second place, and third is all in the pits, and KD is into the pits now. What's getting rid of Kiki? I don't know. What was I trying to say? I don't know what I was trying to say, guys. I'm stumbling all over myself tonight. I'm an absolute mess, I am. Nothing unusual on that one. So where is KD going to come out of the pits now? Let's take a look. So the race leader coming out of the pits now behind Chlorine Pilot, and then out behind him is Camera Racer, Tori, and Vessier. Dynamo Dan also into the pits as well. Dynamo Dan, that's soft tyres for Dynamo Dan. I don't know why those soft tyres will be coming out at this stage for Dynamo Dan, because he ain't going to get to the end of the race, is he? Fortunately for Dynamo Dan. Jinner is leading, and there's now a second away from Mumford. We've seen that develop on the last lap. So now then Jinner then is got over a DRS buffer, which is going to help him. But Mumford then might be able to get back in DRS before the start-finish straight, or before the detection line, then down the start-finish. Oh, that's a lock-up from the bronze world champion of Reflection. Those tyres are going to resemble a 50 pence piece then. You never finished the sentence, says Bishop. What's happened? And Chlorine Pilot again is off the circuit in Cox Corner. And Chlorine Pilot is having a nightmare at that part of the circuit. And a damaged end plates as well. Reflections leads the Grand Prix. Jenner, Mumford is all in the pits as well. And one of the drivers that wanted to come in last lap couldn't because of their teammates. That's the problem about a competitive team. So Pot Stuff stays out. Farfa and Kiki both on the hard tyres. Knowlesy is now getting past as Chlorine Pilot's got a 3-second penalty. And Chlorine Pilot's had an issue coming into the pit lane, I feel. He has had an issue coming to the pit lane there for Chlorine Pilot. And a big frustration there for the Ferrari driver. Knowlesy is on the outside. No, it's the Real Fig on the outside. Let's get rid of that. And now the Real Fig, where are we? I'm looking at the wrong car. And Fig on the outside. He's trying to hold it on the outside. He's going to have the inside now to turn 5 or 6 or somewhere around the middle sector of the lap. And the Real Fig, they're trying to get the power down, but Knowlesy has the tires, he has the purchase, he has the traction, he has the position. Up into a 5th position now, then does not go Knowlesy. Debo Croc is now in the hunt as well. The problem for KD, problem for KD is he's 2.5 seconds away from that battling trio up in front of us. I do expect, though, Debo Croc and the Real Fig to come to the pit lane in the not too distant future. But Knowlesy, Farf, and Kiki have... What's happened? Kiki's had an issue coming out of turn 13, I think that was, and he's lost out to Farf. Farf is in front of him. Pot Stuff is in the pit lane now, so Pot Stuff is going to have a 2 or 3 lap undercut here. So the Real Fig is also staying out as well, and of course keeping that DRS range. But look at this, KD with no DRS then, which now look at these hounds there behind KD. They're really hounding the McLaren Mercedes driver now. As Camera Racing went in a bit too, I think that went a bit too overzealous there, and unfortunately that has lost the momentum as Ginnan is having a sniff out, but he's gone wide as well into turn 4. These long corners are absolutely destroying the tyres. That's a big lockup for the Sauber driver, I think, of the Real Fig, unfortunately. You said the stewards were talking about getting rid of. Oh, yes. Yeah, there's thing that's in the gold. There's after the gold chat last night. There's a bit of rumblings about the stewards getting rid of the voting system to vote on which track there. Of course, with the mystery Grand Prix, instead of having the Wheel of Misfortune this season, we have had the viewers vote them. But of course, there's some drivers have been feeling a bit undeterred about how voting has gone then, and there's been a couple of rumblings under the surface. There's some drivers maybe spamming votes with different accounts, and which of course, for me, for example, I'm happy with that because there's more viewership. But of course, for the drivers, that's possibly maybe a little unfortunate. They'd probably be feeling a bit aggrieved then. Mumford up into 9th position, Besser into 10th position, and of course Nigel in 11th at the moment. Nigel's gone on medium tyres again. Unbeknownst to me, that's taken me 2 laps to figure that out. Goodness gracious me, Sean. Sort yourself out, good sir. Lap 16, about half distance in this Grand Prix now. By the way, that statement we just said then, we do not know which drivers done what and all that kind of stuff, Ben. So no pointing fingers and all that kind of jazz. But I do think it was Farf rigging it for me. But unfortunately, unbeknownst to Farf, I wasn't racing last night, so shocking stuff indeed. And also as well, Farf is banned from driving the safety car as well. Chlorine Pilot, 10-second penalty. I think that Chlorine Pilot is having a horror show of a day once again, unfortunately. He's out of the Grand Prix. Whilst one Ferrari retires from the race, the other Ferrari is coming in the pits. Oh no. Oh dear. And reflections. I'm hoping that Ferrari goes right through. Otherwise, he has gone right. Oh, he just had a slight delay there, but he should be okay there from the bronze champion. A bit sluggish from the Ferrari team there, of course, with Chlorine Pilot retiring from the race. That may have slightly hampered the bronze champion of reflections. But let's see how that one transpired. Only have the voting for tier drivers in the Discord. Says that Real Ashton there. It was Mushroom. It was Mushroom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then And I'm going to be honest, I think out of our 721 subscribers, I'm sure 700 of them is serious Smasher, to be honest. But there you go. Hey, it doesn't matter about me. It doesn't matter about that. It's all about the numbers and me. And the numbers mean prizes, or is it like points means prizes? I do not know. But all that matters to me is getting a chocolate bar from the admins at the end of the year. Which, to be fair, no one's always going to be a chocolate bar. I always and that's why I'm so nice to him, isn't it? Even though I don't think he feels that I'm nice to him sometimes, but there you go. No, you see, I'm very much, I'm a man who bribes my way to prizes and prizes and all that kind of stuff. Even though I did fail my anti-bribery e-learning a couple of weeks ago, which is not ideal. Into the pits comes Kiki, and Farf also in the pits as well, so that is music to the ears of KD. And look at that then, that's Alpine who is getting past, and look, there he is, that's the Alpine of Tori getting past Camera Racer. Knowlesy leads the race, KD in second position. Look at this, side by side, Camera off the circuit, contact, there's debris between, I think it was Camera and Jinner who have made the slightest bit of contact. Hopefully there's no damage there. Smithy is past Reflections as well, but Reflections got brand new tyres, and these pit stops is very much spread out the gaggle of cars at the moment. Only have voting for the votes race in the Discord services. Real Ashton Smithfield Mighty mentioned that idea in the admin chat earlier on there. So let's see how that transpires. But I feel that we might go back the wheel of misfortune for the time being, anyway. Which, to be fair, I did quite like the wheel of. I do like the big old wheels, especially on the driver draw. That's probably my favourite part of the year. As Camera Racer at the inside then of Tori, but Tori there is having none of it there. Shows him his rear wheel, and Camera Racer is going to have to get in line for the time being. Knowlesy then, is he coming in the pits? No, Knowlesy is staying out there, and he's very much doing his tyre tickling moniker here tonight there. But Knowlesy leads the Grand Prix, but not for long I feel, because here comes KD, who's taken the lead in this race, and as it stands will lead the Drivers' Championship as we leave Spain tonight. Tori couldn't get through, Camaro couldn't get through, Jinner couldn't get through either. Now Knowlesy is going to be very much a mobile chicane. No, he isn't, because he's got no grip on those hard tyres. I think Knowlesy is hanging for a safety car, as Camera Racer and Jinner are getting very contact. Goodness gracious me, and more contact, banging wheels. It is getting very feisty between the two drivers, and Versa's going to take up the advantage of that. Is he? Not quite, as the racing ball stays behind Jinner as they go out of Farf corner. And there's also Willie involved as well. I think that is who is that Willie? I think that is Nigel. It is Nigel doing a great job tonight. Nigel is it's great to see the former champion there of ALR, the first ever ALR champion, in the thick of this one. Hello to Kaya. Hello to Kaya Langston there. Good evening to you, my good sir. Great to have you along for these action-packed Grand Prix in the second half of this race. Now, Knowlesy staying up then, and I think that is going to be absolute. I think there's going to be tears in the Williams cockpit there. Is that, of course, Knowlesy can drive his own race. Of course, he wants to. He is extending this stint as long as he can, so those medium tyres get to the end of the race. Oh my word! And contact, and again there's Camaro and Jinner. I'm going side by side. Goodness gracious me. As, goodness me, I got to sit down because I think that I sat on something I shouldn't have sat on. Oh my gosh! Oh, as up the inside, Knowlesy gives the McLaren a glancing look, and I have a feeling that Knowlesy is more than a look. I think that was a glare from Knowlesy, as it's getting a bit hot and heavy in that midfield. Devo Croc on the hard tyres is recovering. But my goodness gracious me, they're all scampering past Knowlesy, and goodness gracious me, none of them are waiting for an invitation. I think this man here, Nigel's on a two-stop strategy, and I think he's trying to get to a sensible window. The drivers on the hard tyres should get to the end of the race there. How do I know that? I do not know that, to be honest. That's an educated guess, and let's be honest, my education is very, very low indeed. Oh. Ginner than a snap of oversteer. This is very much a tyre limited circuit, this one is, isn't it? Out of the final turn now is Ginner going wide and going on the rumble curb. So that is going to lose his momentum, and he is now going to be a sit and duck. Or sit and Haas then, and now then on the outside goes Vessier. He's going to break later, and Ginner then not the most easiest of men to pass, but Ginner is fighting every inch of the circuit, which is great stuff for us to watch at home here, isn't it? Brilliant. Tory is flying out there. Goodness me, the LP drivers come alive on these hard compound tyres. Magnificent stuff indeed. Nigel wants to get past because he wants to use these medium tyres to their maximum efficiency here. Knowlesy is still out on circuit at this moment. As Nigel then wants to get through, but I'm wondering if he might have to come the pits in the next lap or two to maximise out, because he's not gaining much ground on these medium tyres because he's stuck in a DRS train. The top two are separated by half a second then on lap 21 out of 41, and it's very enthralling Spanish Grand Prix. Mumford in 6th position. Currently this is the strongest race for Mumford this season. He hasn't scored many points this season, unfortunately, has he, Mumford, but this is a strong race for Mumford just to get some points on the board and trying to build his campaign. But unfortunately for Mumford, this is a short season. There's only 17 rounds this season. This is round 6 of the Drivers' Championship there. Knowles, he's had enough. He's come into the pit lane now as we come down the start-finish straight once again. Go on, Nige, show us what you got. I am not reading what serious I should put. Oh my word, one Aston Martin in the pits, one Aston Martin in the gravel. Not as Finn and Kiki is having a horrific day out there. Is unfortunately Kiki and the Aston Martin team, both drivers going on the hard tyres. I'm wondering if that is just due to the Aston Martin just not very kind on its tyres there, which is unfortunate. So 2 quarters race distance in this race. Thank goodness me, I'm so good at maths, and let's be honest about it. I think that it's not very a difficult thing to work that one out, is it? But small wins, everyone, small wins. Nigel then, so Nigel's got to come back in the pits where he goes on the soft tyres. When it was the longest stint on the soft tyres, I don't think it was very long at all. It was 6 laps. I think that Nigel's going to have to go on the hard tyres because he's probably, well, he ain't losing too much time in this crocodile at the moment, is he? He is sitting very happy in 7th position, is Nigel, but he does need to come back into the pits. Kiki off the circle again. He's gone off at Farf corner. Is Kiki? He's trying to emulate Farf. But unfortunately, that is not the time to emulate Farf. Ginner's got a 3-second penalty for Ginner, unfortunately, and that is going to mean that Mumford will not need to overtake Ginner on circuit, and he would just get past him if he gets no penalties, of course. The penalties are not as high as they was in Canada last night. But of course, this is very much a slow burning of a Grand Prix. Knowles has got past Riley. Riley, another driver who is on a bit of a point scoring, a non-point scoring streak at the moment, is Riley out there. And so drivers out there are really struggling, aren't they, in this race? Which reminds me, tomorrow night in bronze, of course, it's the final track votes then of this week. And of course, your track options are Canada, Spain and Monaco. So I'm hoping it's Monaco tomorrow night so we can see all 3 of them. Whether the bronze drivers wants to race around Monaco is a different story entirely. I know some drivers wanted to race around Monaco tonight, didn't they? I think the ALR Championship hasn't had many races in Monaco as of recently. It has been taken off the calendar over the last couple of years or so. We did have a race around Monaco in the event league earlier on this season then, as we got Vessier, who is gaining on Camera Racer. And Vessier, who is a bit further down the grid than he probably would have liked, is having a really good, strong race here as the Real Fig has left the session there. A Real Fig then hopefully would like to get back in the car pronto, because the Real Fig could potentially get some decent points out of this because he's on younger tyres than the drivers around the lane. He just needs to look after his tyres, but he needs to get back in the car. Ginner has gone for a 2-stopper, so his hard tyres have fallen apart, and Ginner is now in the pits. He's out in 13th position, just in front of Knowles. He's a 6-second buffer to himself in the Real Pig, which is perfect for Ginner because now he can really get his head down and get those tyres into an operating window, of course. I've done at Monaco this season, not again, says Serious Mushroom. Spoil sport. Absolute spoil sport. Did I race in Monaco? I don't think I did. I think I was meant to race, and Knowles, he was like, "No way, Pedro," and he threw me in the commentary box there. So yes, let's have about that bet. I'm sure I raced in. I think it was Jake the Slayer's League a couple of years ago, and I was so slow around Monaco that I think that I don't know how. I think I was way up the grid because there's a safety car out, and I was just basically. I think the safety car came out, and I was just sat like in a 6th, 7th position for a very long time. As the real thing back in the session, good stuff indeed then, so let's see what the real thing can do. He's got an outside chance of points here tonight. Star's got a great chance of points as well, but basically no one can get by me because it was Monaco. And then unfortunately I binned it into the wall because I was kept looking backwards instead of actually looking at where I was going, which is not ideal, is it? Especially around places like Monaco. Of course, the F1 drivers and of course the ALR drivers are superhuman because they can look at their steering wheels, they can do all kinds of control changes on their steering wheels whilst racing around with place like Monaco, whilst mere mortals like myself can barely keep it on the road in these fast and frantic beasts. I swallowed my tongue, and not in a good way either. I don't think there is a good way to swallow your tongue, actually, is that, to be fair. But yes, I don't want to swallow my tongue tonight because, well, at least we get me out of work, I suppose. Out the follow turn then for KD leads the way still with Tori in second position. Tori did home right back up on KD, but I'm wondering if Tori is just sitting there at the moment, doing a bit of harvest. Oh, Camera Race has got a 3-second penalty as well, which is now going to be music to the eyes and ears of Vessier, because Vessier doesn't need to get past Camera Racer. But look at the background, it's that Papaya McLaren who is just looking in the background. He's 2 seconds away as Potstuff makes his way to a finish there. Potstuff pitted a little bit later than the drivers around him, apart from Reflection, who's got 2 lap younger tyres. But Potstuff is trying to recover and get as many points as he can. Currently, as it stands, he'll be losing the lead in the Drivers' Championship and second position in the Drivers' Championship as well for Potstuff. So Potstuff is kind of, I think that this is damage limitation mode for the championship leader. Nigel's gone soft tyres. That's a bit of a stretch in my humble opinion, but of course that's why I'm not out on circuit, because a lot of my opinions are usually absolute boulder dash. They belong at the bottom of a rubbish bin. So here's Vessier now, who is is matching, and I think it's quicker than Camera Racer at this stage of proceedings at the moment. So Vessier once again driving spectacularly well. I think it's very difficult to say, because I think over the last couple of seasons, Vessier, since getting promoted from bronze, has just got better and better and better in silver, hasn't he? He's gone from near the back of the grid. I don't think he's ever been at the back of the grid in a silver grid before anyway, but he's just getting better and better. He's gone from the lower echelons of the midfield to the middle part of the midfield, and now in his recent seasons, he's now really elevated his performance, his skill and determination, and his precision and elegance, excellence up into the higher stages of the points there, which is all good stuff indeed. And that's why Vessier is currently joint 5th in the Drivers' Championship, joint on points with the bronze champion Reflection as well, who's making his 130th Grand Prix start tonight, which is nothing to sneeze at either. On board with Potstuff, and in front of us, that is beautiful to see for Potstuff, not just because it's a Scuderia Ferrari, not because it's Reflections, but also because that Ferrari is harvesting. That rear light was flashing, and that is going to entice Potstuff to maybe have a lunge down into turn 1, the long start finish straight. Nigel just wants fast as that, smart thinking from Nigel. I do feel that Nigel possibly should have not have gone on the medium tyres in the middle stint. However, I have been wrong before, and he potentially could get himself back into the points there maybe. Just watching Potstuff, who's a bit further back at the moment. And look at the background, there's another pink car, but it's not the Racing Board, it's the Alpine. Oh, what's happened? As we've now got Mumford has lost out to Styles, who's up into 5th position, that equals his best result of his season in China, with a 5th position now, and passes Mumford, and Reflections at the inside. Not quite, and getting squirrely, and look at Mumford, oh, I should say Mumfy, and oh my word, Mumfy is struggling. I reckon his tyres are gone then. Mumfy tyres is completely gone, and Smithfield Mighty, there he is in the background, he is just homing in on this gaggle of cars. Styles is up to a superb fifth position. There's a lot of candidates for driver of the day tonight, and unfortunately for me, I've got to pick up. Goodness gracious me. I don't know who I'm going to pick, to be honest. KD leads the way and is now extending his gap to up to 8/10 of a second, almost 9/10 of a second. Tory's flurry seems to have been extinguished here. Reflections looking in his mirror there because he's seen a white Haas nose cone having a sniff up the inside there. Look at how far Styles has gone. Mumfie is still in DRS range of the Kick Sauber, so that's going to help him ever so slightly. But I think that Mumfie's tyres are struggling and Reflections is gaining, but it's not going to be gaining enough down into turn one. So I think that one more lap, Mumford will be out of DRS range as Jitter's off the circuit there, and Jinu's had such good pace in qualifying, and it's looking good in the race, but the two-stop strategy has really hamstrung Jinner, and Jinner is good to coming back on circuit now, but unfortunately for Jinner, I think that is the opportunity of points has been well and truly dashed, unfortunately. KD leads, second position. Nigel's off the circle as well then, and I think that there's Nigel trying to recover. And unfortunately, I think the drivers who've gone for two stoppers are trying to over-push the car now. And, whoa, pot stuff there. Almost, that would have been an airplane crash if he went off there at Campsa. Pot stuff who is now really hampering Reflections. And Mumford is still just about inside a DRS of Hungry Stars, and that I think is what's going to keep him out of the clutches of Reflections. But Reflections dropped back on this lap, and you can see that now I think that Pot Stuff is going to be trying to get an overtake done before Smithfield Mighty arrives on the scene, because there is Smithfield Mighty, and he has gained another couple of tenths of a second on this lap. Smithfield Mighty then very much on a charge in the final stage of this race, as Smithfield Mighty keeping his tires in. Then the top three in bronze of last season, they got promoted this season. Styles, Reflections and Smithfield Mitre are all in the top 10 and are all showing some amazing pace there. Farf in the top 10 as well, but I think Farf on 12 level medium tyres is going to struggle from there, I feel, with 3 laps to go, but it's going to be very much like a marathon for Farf then to complete this race on those 12 level tyres. On board with Reflections now then is that Mumford is trying to stay in DRS range. I think that Mumford is desperate to stay in DRS range, because if he goes out of DRS range to start, he's out of DRS range and he's got no DRS now, so that is what Styles needs then. He's got no DRS down the back straight, he needs DRS down the start finish straight. KD is now starting to extend his Styles starting to extend his gap. Is KD, remember KD in the opening 5 races there has been on the podium 3 times at the 5 races. He's scored in every single race as well, has KD, and he's on course to take the lead in the Drivers' Championship, which would be absolutely fantastic to see then for the American driver, as his teammate Mumfie though is under pressure. Reflections got an opportunity, but he's too far back into turn 1 then, as his time is running out. Styles, I think, has used a lot of battery to get out of DRS range. Unfortunately, that's not happened, and now Styles is under the cosh now from Hungry Styles in this final stage of this Spanish Grand Prix. The pace around here has been pretty slow tonight, goodness gracious me. I think a lot of the drivers have been very much in tyre conservation mode, haven't they? As the pace around here is not, the race time is actually quite high in this one here tonight. Goodness gracious me, man. As Pot Stuff there, look, get a bit out of shape. Now these gaggle of cars that have really concertinaed up once again then. Tory is still 8/10 of a second away from KD. That flurry a couple of laps ago has currently come to nothing. Has he got any more pace left in that Alpine? If not, KD will take the lead in the Drivers' Championship. Tory will move up to second, but Pot Stuff, a brilliant drive to get himself back into 8th position then after the start line shenanigans. I don't really know what happened there. I did point the finger at Camera Racer potentially, or one of the Williamses, I believe, or one of the Alpines. So it's definitely a blue car, but I think that Core of the Grid's got blue on their cars, haven't they? Knowlesy is through. Farf is into the pit lane. As my goodness gracious me, I think that we could have a lunge on the final lap then, but of course I feel a lot of these drivers might be quite content with staying in the positions they are. But these are racing drivers that any sniff of an opportunity, and they're going to lunge down into turn 1, lunge down into turn 10, lunge here, there, everywhere, and everyone loves a good lunge. We got a lot of pit stoppers on this lap. Farf, Riley, Jinner, all in the pits. They're all going for fastest lap there, and I think that Nigel's fastest lap could be under a bit of threat in this one, as Tori has really gained on KD on this lap, as we got one more tour of the Spanish D Catalunya circuit then. As I think that the Spanish Grand Prix here next year is actually going to be called, is it going to be called the Catalan Grand Prix, I believe, isn't it? For the first time, we're going to have a Catalan Grand Prix, which would be quite cool, wouldn't it? Of course, as the Spanish Grand Prix is now in the Mad Ring, isn't it? Whether we get the Mad Ring or not on the next calendar remains to be seen, and it all depends about the DLC. On the final lap then, what has Tori got then? Tori's gaining, but I think that he is not gaining enough, and he's going at, no, he's not quitting. Whoa, it's Tori's back end then. Very close then to, very close to swapping ends then. We're on board with Mumfie, and look, right, there's Reflections down the inside. He's got the move done. Reflections there, very much the long game, and he's through, and Potstep is through as well. Mumfie, I think his tires are destroyed after only 19 laps, whilst his teammate has done a lap extra. Mumford is really struggling. He's going to limp home in 8th position then. He may, oh, he's complete. Is he got a puncture, Mumford has? He's got no pace whatsoever. As we got a yellow flag in front of us somewhere. I don't know where that yellow flag was then. As now Kona of camps for the 33rd and final time. Then Tori is close, but not close enough for KD to take the lead in the Drivers' Championship there. Smithy Almighty and Mumfie is got, no, I think he's got a punch or something's gone wrong with that McLaren. The tyre wear has been extreme for Mumford, and he's going to finish 9th behind, which is sad indeed. Out of the final turn, and KD is going to win the Spanish Grand Prix and takes the lead in the Drivers' Championship. What a race there for KD from pole position to checkered flag. And that is the first time this season the pole sitter has gone on to win the Grand Prix. And KD now leads the Drivers' Championship, his second win of the season there. And of course, Potstep, two wins apiece between KD and Potstep. Potstep recovered to a very decent 6th position after what was a pretty dire situation. My goodness me, but great stuff indeed there for Potstep to recover to 6th position as well. But my goodness gracious me, there's so many good results out there tonight, isn't there? Like KD there, good job from pole position to check a flag there. We've also got Vestia going up 10 positions. Well, I don't know who to give this to be honest. Goodness gracious me. My golly gosh. Oof, my word. Right, let's take a final look at the classification then from the Spanish Grand Prix then. And the first pole sitter to convert it into a Grand Prix win tonight. Superb stuff indeed there for KD, and I believe he's taking the lead in the Drivers' Championship. KD, pole position to checker flag. Tori from 6th to 2nd, great stuff indeed. Vessier, great drive from 13th to 3rd. And Hungry Stars from 12th to 4th, and Reflections from 14th to 5th. Those are some great drives from all three of them. That's why they're in the drive of the day. But Potstep, I think a great drive to come getting from back up to 6th after a horror show of an opening start. I'll be interested to know what happened to Potstep. Hopefully we'll find out. Camero in 7th, Smithy 8th, Mumfie finishes in 9th, but his Targe has absolutely fell to pieces. Knowlesy gets into 10th position there. The alternative strategy did not work out in the end. Once again, the real thing just outside the points of 11th position there. I'm wondering if that disconnect cost him points there, because he was only 4 seconds away from Knowlesy. Devo Croc in 13th, Farf gets fast up in 14th, Dynamo Dan in 15th, Nigel in 16th, Jinner gets fast up, I apologise, Kiki in 18th, 2 retirements, Chlorine Pilot and Sloth retired from the Spanish Grand Prix. And I've got KD in the comms box now as well, and KD, what a drive tonight, and this is the first race where we've got a pole sitter convert into a win then. It looked quite straightforward for me. KD, can you hear me? It looked quite straightforward. From me tonight in the comments box, going from pole position to checkered flag. What
Hello?
was you feeling like in the car?
Oh, can you hear me now? Hello? Wait. Okay. Okay, cool. Sorry, let me repeat what I was saying. I had a bit of mic issues. Well, first off, I kind of felt like I had a bit of pressure at the entire race from Camaro and especially from Toy at the end. The I have to give props to Toy though. The dude has been unbelievably consistent throughout the season so far, and there's a reason why he's been up there as far as fighting for the championship to start off the campaign. I just felt like this race, all I had to do was just not make any mistakes. I mean, I had the pace to hold off everyone as much as I could. The only niggle I had was just trying to get past Noel C and the Aston Martins with him and Kiki as well, because they were a bit of a thorn in my butt. But overall, though, I think it was a great race. I think, and yeah, like I said, big props to Tori as well. He raced his heart out today too.
I'm going to ask you about the tyres because for your teammate Mumford, he really struggled towards the end and dropped from fifth down to ninth, and he had a lap younger tyres than yourself. How difficult was it to keep the tyres into the operating window? Because it looked like a lot of drivers really struggled today with tyre wear.
Well, as far as I know, with Mumford, like the difference between him and I is that he's on pad, I'm on control, or I'm sorry, I'm on wheel. So I think with being on wheel, it does help with tire management. At least that's what I've understood. But yeah, I guess it probably is that's probably part of the difference. It could be also setup too. Uh, I don't know what setup he had. I mean, I had like 35, 30 wings, if you guys want to know. But yeah, I don't think the tires were that bad. Like all I was doing was just managing the ERS, especially through the slower sections. Because basically, if you have like a bit of ERS mode on, like say if you have medium or high lap on or overtake even too, sometimes if you have that on, it will like spin your tires a little bit. That can kill it a little bit. So it also helps when you turn it off during the slow speed sections, I guess. But that's just my like guess. I don't know, but yeah, that's all I have for that.
I know you talked about ERS management in the slower stuff, Ben. Could you expand on that a bit? And do you think that that was what got you the edge? Because Tory looked very close on the final
Mm.
lap. Then was that ERS management that got you over the line in the last two laps?
That was part of it, and there was a bit in that final sector before the final lap. I did make a slight error where I think I was slightly deep going to turn 10 or turn 12. I can't remember exactly where now, but it was definitely one of those corners. But yeah, I just had enough ERS just to hold them off, and that's pretty much all I had to do to win.
And as far as my mask goes, which by the way is a big if, I think you're now leading the championship. How are you? How are you feeling then? Are you now going to go from the hunter to the hunted then? And was you keeping an eye on pot stuff as well, coming back through the field today?
Oh, I mean, Pot Stuff is someone I've definitely had my eye on for sure. I mean, the guy's also been really good so far to start the campaign. He's already got 2 wins. It just seemed like he had a bit of an off night tonight, which happens to all of us. I did notice he had a really bad start to the race and dropped a few positions, but he's definitely still on my radar. Like him and Tori have been on my radar to at least go down the road to figure out exactly like who my targets are.
And now you are leading the championship then. So are you going to be changing your approach going into Austria next week, or is it same mode from yourself?
Depending on what happens. But main thing for me is just to try to finish ahead of those guys as much as I possibly can. I know it's not going to be like that for every single race, but as long as I'm consistently up there, either fight for podiums, wins, or even scoring points for the worst of it, then that's all I care about.
And we do go into Austria next week then. Austria does seem to throw
Hmm.
curveballs every now and again with weather, with free DRS zones as well. How are you feeling going into Austria next week? Are you confident?
Mm, it's a bit of if for me because everyone can be so close around Austria. especially for how short that track is. And the DRS trains are definitely going to be a constant as well, as long as you don't make a mistake, which is something is easy to do, like at turn one and a little bit in the middle sector at turn 7 and 8. As long as you don't make mistakes, you should be okay. But yeah, qualifying I think is going to be the most essential part to that, and then of course managing the race after that.
And we cannot wait to see that. Well done, KD. We'll see you in Austria. Brilliant job indeed, then. Your second Grand Prix win of the season. And our first driver to win from pole position to checkered flag tonight. Fantastic. And Vessier,
Thank
I
you.
would say that this is possibly a couple of races later than what you should have been, what should have been there, because you, of course, was on the podium, or should have been on the podium in China after that weird thing that happened to you at the exit turn 12 or 13 or somewhere like that. But you finally done it today, and I was saying during the race that you very much picked up some pace in the second half of that race. But tell us about your race from your point of view.
I would disagree on the second part of the race being quicker, but yeah, it was a bit frustrating with that glitch up on the China. And then I did the alternate strategy at Imola last week because it was gonna say it was raining, which probably cost me a P3 as well. But yeah, good race from 13th, and bit too far back from the top three, but being in P4 in the championship is pretty good, I would say.
Yeah, tell us about what happened in qualifying, because I was quite surprised to see you far down there. What happened in qualifying to see you down in 13th?
Uh, it was a silly mistake on my part. I didn't check, but I was messing around on controller with some mates on the game, and I still had medium traction on. And I checked while I was on my formation lap because I got no wheel spin off the line, and yeah, that probably made a bit of a difference there.
Oh, so frustrating. But going on to the race as well, I did mention that the second half of the race was very quick for you, but you disagreed. So was it the first stint where it really got you up into this third position today?
Um, it's just a bit of a weird one. It's just timing of pit stops. No, Knowlesley holding up the field a bit meant I caught up to Jin and that, and then I luckily managed to get past him. But yeah, the top two were too quick, so luckily Kamara had 6 seconds of pens that I could just keep up with him and take a podium.
And you did mention you're now in fourth in the championship, and potentially you could have been higher up in the championship as well. The top three do seem to have a bit of an advantage over the rest of the field. So, is fourth position the highest you can aim for this year, or do you think you can sneak into that top three?
We'll see. It depends on the circuits. Like tonight was the circuit I least wanted in the track vote, but still getting P3 in here is pretty good. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully, less niggles and like with glitches and getting penalties at the wrong time, etc. Or caught up in an incident. And my race pace is always better than my quali pace, so we'll see how it goes.
It certainly is. And then going into Austria next week, then you mentioned about penalties. Austria could be a prime example of penalties. Katie's not looking not looking forward to it by the sounds of it. Are you looking forward to Austria next week?
Uh, Not like one of my strongest circuits, but yeah, it's going to be very much pens. I got only one, I, I believe in 100%, maybe two. Um, and I felt like I had decent pace there. Just had an unlucky race with incidents. But yeah, maybe next week in silver I might do well. It's going to be a really close field in that DRS train, so it's going to be who's got the slipperish car on the straight and can keep their tyres all in one piece.
Really good stuff today. Well done, good today, guys. KD getting his second Grand Prix win of the season. Vesser on the podium for the first time this season, but probably should have been second or even third. That is going to be it for tonight then. Driver of the day is actually a three-way split between Vesser, Styles, and Reflections. So it looks like it's going to be the stewards' decision then for driver of the day. Then I think that's Farf. So whoever can sweet talk Farf then. Great stuff indeed. Tomorrow night is going to be more mystery track action then. Monaco, Spain, or Canada? Which one is going to be picked tomorrow night for Bronson? I cannot wait. We'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.